some things I can do now to start building my voiceover acting skills?
Oh, good. Awesome. Yes, there are things you can do now that you don't need training for, but you can do until you get the training. So this will warm you up and prep you and make you able to get the most out of training once you decide to step into that realm. So first, I would highly recommend to just, and this is simple, yet tricky, because what I'm suggesting is nothing short of opening up your ears. And this is going to sound corny, man, and your heart to all of the wonderful examples of voiceover that are around us every day. We have spent our entire life learning to tune out the commercials, the announcement over the loudspeaker, walking through Home Depot and there's a product on the shelf and there's a video playing. Oh, don't try to sell me that. But all of those are examples of voiceover. The commercials that you see on your TV shows, we're talking, that is the person voicing that, and that performance you're hearing is the person who worked their butt off to become a professional voiceover talent, got the skills, the training, whatever, was in a position to audition for that spot, either through a demo or through an audition, eventually won that spot through their audition, and then they went into, especially if you were talking like national commercials, Super Bowl commercials, the really high-end products, they went into some multi-million-dollar studio, and then they beat up that commercial, all of those lines for 1 to 2 hours, and then they took the best parts of each one of those lines and put it all together and made a perfect sounding commercial. So if that's not an indication of what wins in the industry right now, I don't know what is. And you start to, once you open your ears, you start to get wise to certain trends. What types of delivery are trendy right now, or are clients going for each time? The days of the golden-throated radio announcer in commercials, that's kind of gone now. They bring them back as a cliche, but you ever notice the snarky guy now, Dan? You ever notice him now, the announcer that's kind of like this? It's like, I don't know how that became a trend, but it's a trend. Maybe you should, if you know how to rock that style, or you want to develop a style like that, there's also styles like this. Guys and girls talking like this. I don't know why, but that's what they're doing. So if I want to be a voiceover talent, maybe I should hone that tool and put it in my toolbox and be ready to bust that out at the next audition. So my first thing, open your ears, start understanding, start listening, start appreciating what voiceover is all about, and that there are these wonderful examples of voiceover that are everywhere. You can't escape them. They're everywhere. And it becomes a little less of a nuisance once you start appreciating them. Now when my Pandora, because I haven't bought the Pandora Pay app, so I just get it for free on my phone, and a commercial comes in every, maybe 10 minutes or so. Now I'm not bothered by it because it's another example of voiceover that I can learn from. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I would say, and this is so simple, easy to do, and very, very, very important, is to read out loud every day, at least for 10 minutes. If you can't read out loud every day, and I know, your schedule doesn't always permit, but at least as often as you can. In voiceover, we're using our eyes to see the words, our brain to process that information, and to process the thoughts we have behind that. And then we're using our mouth and our vocal instrument, the mechanics of our voice. And those three areas have to be working in perfect harmony. And the only way to develop that is to read out loud. I say for people who come in for an audition and they'll get the script for the first time and they are about to perform that script in 3 minutes, and they're there looking at the script and I'm like, do it out loud, do it full volume. That's the only way you're going to make sure you're not going to stumble when you get there. So reading out loud is really important. And then if you want to supersize that, oh, wait, let's pull back. Okay, read out loud. What do I read, Rob Holt? How would you tell me to read out loud and not give me something to read? So the back of the cereal box, magazines, commercials in magazines. Be creative, play, invent a style that this thing should be in. If you look at a magazine ad, you can tell by the graphics if this is a high-end car spot. It needs a voice that's very, very weighty and precise. Or if it's a caring cancer center spot, it needs a warmer voice. Or if it's a kid's spot and it's fun, and you can just play around. This is when you're starting out. There are really very few wrong answers. If you're loving what you do, if you're having a good time and you're using your voice and you're strengthening that eye, brain, mouth connection, that's the name of the game, people. So another thing I love is those pamphlets in the doctor's office. It's about all these different conditions. Those are great fodder for reading out loud. Some of them are, might have some tricky words, and it's great to learn how to get through a tricky word quickly, or at least at your reading pace, which is you go back, you slow it down, and then you go over it enough times, you slowly start to speed it up, and then you can add it right in. And then I would say, lastly, if you want to supersize this reading out loud activity, because this is the starting to get into the mechanics of voiceover, and we'll start to tap your voice acting. But what about the performance? What about being on the spot? Because you're going to be performing voiceover in front of people, unless you are one of those rare people that only ever works out of a home studio for your whole life, which I'm not even sure they exist. But anyway, so you can do your read out loud exercise, maybe not all the time, but sometimes do it in front of people, in front of friends and family members. You can even do it in a public place that is, that they allow noise. You could read out loud in a Starbucks. People might think you're a little bit crazy, but they do anyway. Or in a park, out in a public place. I've noticed when I do that, yes, I do that. It's true. I keep my tools sharp because I need to. I still think that people are listening to me, even if they aren't. I'm still putting myself on the spot. So if you want to supersize your reading out loud, do it in front of people. That will change the game. You'll notice the thing that you could nail when you're sitting in your office by yourself, all of a sudden, this performance and you're like, why is this so different? It's because you're performing it in front of somebody now. So those are some simple things that you can do to start awakening the parts of your brain and your physicality to what this voiceover thing is all about. And they're fun. You can make them fun. Use your creativity, I would say.